Hey everyone, I wanted to take the opportunity today, because we had time, to do a vlog. And this is actually something we're going to be doing a lot more on Pop Trigger, right, Amir? Grace just did one?
Yeah.
Is it out yet?
It's not out yet.
Ooh, so Grace has a vlog. Can I tell them what it's about?
Yeah.
What's it about?
It's about how to win an argument on Facebook.
How to win an argument on Facebook. Go, Grace. So we're going to be doing these vlogs. I had the opportunity to do one today, and I wanted to respond to a question that has come about quite a bit in my pregnancy updates, both on the first and the second one, in response to what do I do, what do I eat nutrition-wise for a vegan pregnancy. So. And it was all positive, it was. And I'm just so happy with all the comments. I'm so overwhelmed that you guys care enough. I mean, it's interesting, right, to learn about what's happening to someone when they're pregnant, because this is all new to me as well. So I just wanted to respond to that. So I did bring here with me today, first of all, I'm not a nutritionist, newsflash, right? I'm not a doctor. These are just things that I've learned over time, and being vegetarian for 12 years, vegan for 10, you learn a lot, at least I did. Nutrition's always been important to me. As a student athlete, I used to swim at UCLA, I had access to a nutritionist. So the nutritionist, and I'm really out of breath if you can hear, that's another sign of pregnancy because you're pumping so much blood flow. And it's just, I'm always out of breath. So I apologize if I sound like I just ran in here. I didn't. I've been sitting here for an hour and I'm gonna be all over the place too. But so the nutritionist, back when I first started exploring being a vegetarian and a plant-based diet, that nutritionist really helped me understand a lot about nutrition, and I've read a lot of books since then. But then when you're pregnant, all that goes out the door, because you think you don't care about yourself anymore. You really only care about the baby, the fetus. So for me, even though I already knew the benefits of a plant-based diet, for me, I just wanted confirmation from my doctor. So I talked to my doctor. I talked to a nutritionist. I read a lot of different books. We had a doula come on here that had extensive knowledge of nutrition. So I talked to a lot of different people, and I want to share all that with you today. Because I did see in the comments on, if it wasn't this video and the last video, and again, all the comments have been overwhelmingly supportive, and I'm getting a screenshot ready so I can read it to you right here. I had one person say that adopting like a plant-based diet when you're pregnant is not healthy. That is wrong. That is wrong. It's not even an opinion, that is wrong. You can look at countless different studies. You can talk to doctors, nutritionists, following a plant-based diet, a well-planned plant-based diet. You have to be well-planned with any diet. But yeah, if you follow a plant-based diet that is well-planned, it is very healthy for the mother. It's very healthy for the child, if not more healthy, because you are getting all those nutrients and that protein intake and all of that without the added fat and cholesterol. And so it's 100% healthy. I wanted to read here, even though there's so many different articles I could have quoted or different organizations. I have one here from the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, and they talk here about the vegan diet when you're pregnant. They say a vegetarian vegan diet when you're pregnant is the optimal way to meet your nutritional needs. The key to a healthy vegetarian diet or vegan diet is variety, which includes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. I don't know if I even say that right. Legumes. All these years, okay, legumes, whatever. I just kind of talk more about the foods itself. So I talk about like the lentils and the beans and the quinoa and the tempeh, and we'll go over all of that. But I wanted to read that because there's just misinformation out there, and that's okay. If you grew up on a meat-based diet and it still works for you, fine. But there is a lot of science out there that does support that a plant-based diet is healthy for you, healthy for baby, great for the environment, obviously great for the well-being of animals. So it's a great thing that you can do, but you have to be well planned, just like any other diet. So I do want to stress that. There's plenty of vegan junk food out there, not going to help you, not going to help the baby. There's plenty, you can't just survive off of salad or pasta or bread, just like any other diet. You have to have diversity. So for me, what I did after I talked to my doctor, before anything, you have to get on your prenatals. So they recommend sometimes you can't plan a pregnancy, right? And that could be the ideal way. But if you're planning your pregnancy like my husband and I did, they recommend that you get on a prenatal 3 months before you start trying. So kind of you can have all those nutrients in your system that can support the pregnancy. And they also say that could help you conceive. I don't know the science behind that, but hey, why not, right? So I did a lot of research on what prenatal was the best, just based on scientific reviews and different recommendations from nutritionists. And the one that kept popping up was, can you see it? It's called My Kind Organics. And My Kind Organics it's a certified organic whole food vitamin. So when you look at the ingredients on the back, it's actual foods that you can read. So it's like apple, berry, carrot, strawberry, bell pepper, like it's real foods instead of all these words you can't pronounce. And what's most important is they want to make sure that you have folic acid. Folic acid, the better version of that is folate. Folic acid comes from folate. So for example, my prenatal, it says folate. And that's more soluble and digestible in the body. It assimilates easier. And you want to make sure that you have your folate. That can help prevent neural tube defects. It's so important. There's so many studies out there that say if you don't have an adequate amount of folate, that you could be really hurting the baby. Now, a plant-based diet, you get a lot of that, but it's good to have an insurance plan, right? So the prenatal here has everything you need, from vitamin B12, from folate, from everything. Everything's in here minus calcium. Calcium is not in here. Now, there's a lot of calcium sources. Some people think that if you're on a plant-based diet, you don't get calcium because they believe that you can only get calcium from dairy, right? From like a cow's milk. And in reality, and again, I'm not a nutritionist, but in reality, the calcium in a cow's milk is casein, if I'm even pronouncing that correctly. That's hard to digest. And you don't, when you get calcium from a plant-based diet, you get it from leafy greens and broccoli and nut milks and a source of other different beans, a lot of different nutrients. And because it's coupled with other really great nutrients, it absorbs better. So because it has magnesium maybe along with it and vitamin D, you're gonna absorb and assimilate that calcium better. So oftentimes vegetarians and vegans, if they have a well-planned diet, eating those foods high in calcium, they have stronger bones than meat eaters. So again, I just want to dispel those myths that if you follow a plant-based diet that you're not getting your calcium. You do. Now, in the beginning, and still from time to time, I do take a raw calcium supplement. And this is important because in the beginning, I was really sick. And it was hard for me to have, like, I would force myself, of course, to eat, but sometimes I had like aversions to like coconut yogurt, which had a lot of calcium. I had aversions to just like broccoli sometimes, and a lot of my calcium, where I was getting my calcium, it was hard for me to eat. So I think it's important kind of every day if you're pregnant to have your little checklist and think, gosh, I really didn't get enough calcium. You can have your supplement, or you can make yourself some sort of nutrient-dense food with calcium in it. Same with protein. A lot of people will say, well, when you're following a plant-based diet, you don't get protein. That's so frustrating because you can get adequate amounts of protein. Again, a better source of protein without the fat, without the cholesterol when you follow a plant-based diet, okay? And people will compare it to animals, right? Well, look at, we evolved from primates. Look at gorillas. Gorillas are vegan, technically. They follow a plant-based diet, not because they choose to like we do, but because that's what their organism needs. And they have healthy pregnancies. They're strong. You look at elephants, and it's the same thing, and rhinos, and the list can go on and on. Bison, horses, all of them eat plants, and they get their protein from plants, and they get their nutrients from plants. And there's so many plant resources out there. And again, for those of you that are watching that already follow a plant-based diet or already aware of the benefits, this is going to be redundant to you. But for those that will tweet me and say, where do you get your protein? And it's just a curious question. I want to be able to answer that. And those that will attack me and say that I don't get protein and how dare I do that to my baby, now my baby's not getting protein, that hurts. That hurts because every day I am making conscious choices to make sure that my baby's getting all the nutrients that it needs. If I found out that a vegan diet was harmful to my baby, I would not be vegan. Straight up. Okay, my dog, I feed my dog raw meat. My dog's on a raw food diet, and it's all as ethical as it can be. All the meat comes from a really great farm in Northern California where they treat the animals ethically. They're all free range. But a dog has canines and they have a digestive tract that can break down raw meat. People will say that we have canines. We don't. Our teeth are more similar to that of a gorilla's. Our teeth are more similar to that of a horse. They're a little bit more flat. We don't have the same digestive tract as a dog to break down meat that you have to cook. We have to cook, right? A dog doesn't have to cook its meat. A lion doesn't have to cook its meat. We do. And actually, when you're pregnant, especially during the first trimester, they say stay away from obviously undercooked meats, but stay away from sushi. That's for mercury and whatnot, but stay away from unpasteurized cheeses. Stay away from lunch meats. All of that, because it could be, you're more prone to those foodborne illnesses because we're not meant to break those down, and that can attack and hurt your baby. So some people really find that a plant-based diet when they're pregnant, it's a lot easier to stick to because you don't have all those regulations to abide to, which is awesome, except for alfalfa sprouts. I had to learn that, and I love alfalfa sprouts, but they can hold bacteria. Unless you really wash them, they can hold bacteria that could be harmful to your baby, and why even risk it? So I don't do alfalfa sprouts, and just always wash your veggies and all that. So yeah, you want to have a really good prenatal, and then also I talked about the calcium, and then they say that DHA is so important, like the omega-3s and the 6s, and choline, I talked about it before, and I know I pronounced it wrong. People corrected me. Again, it gets stuck in my head, and then I just keep mispronouncing it, and I apologize. All that is really important for brain development for the baby. So they recommend, if it's not in your prenatal, and most of the time it's not in your prenatal, that you get one of those supplements. So most people would gravitate towards a fish oil. For vegans, we gravitate towards like sunflower lecithin or algae. And that's actually where fish get their DHA. So the reason why fish are so rich in those omegas is because they're eating algae. So you can cut right to the source, get rid of the middleman, and you can directly ingest algae. And this makes me gag because every time even though it's supposed to taste like pineapple, every time I drop this in my mouth every day, it's disgusting. I hate it, but it's good for the baby. So this is a really good brand. It's called Dr. Fuhrman, Fuhrman, and it's pure 100% liquid concentrate, vegan, algae oil. Bleh, it's disgusting, but it's good for the baby, and the baby will have a well-developed, smart brain. And again, when you go into these doctor appointments, they do monitor you. So they do take your blood test every time, your blood work every time. And if you were to be anemic, they would tell you. If you're not meeting your iron limits, they'll let you know. There's so much iron in plant-based foods too. And again, I'm sorry that I have to like be redundant to the people that are aware of this, but I just want people to understand that when you do follow a plant-based diet, that it is really healthy, but you do have to be well planned. And then also cravings, because I saw also in the last video, people were saying, well, do you crave a burger? And that's another, misunderstanding. When your body craves certain things, it's what your body thinks it knows, right? So, and this is, again, just based on my research from reading all these books and talking to nutritionists and talking to doctors. I'm very inquisitive. I always want to be informed. So I was told, like in the beginning, I craved pineapple all the time. Clearly, I needed more vitamin C. So I craved pineapple, I needed more vitamin C. When I do crave protein, which I do, I don't gravitate towards a burger. I don't crave a burger. I haven't had a burger in 12 years. So for me, I think like a lentil stir fry. I think like a black bean burger. I think like a tempeh patty. I think of things that I'm going to get my protein from. I eat it, I make it, and I feel great, and I feel satisfied. For someone that's used to craving a burger, then yeah, they're going to be really craving protein, but then they're going to think, I need a burger, I need a piece of steak, and it's all what you gravitate towards. And you can make substitutions if that's something that you choose to do. Again, I'm not putting my diet per se in front of others. Like when you're pregnant, just do what you think is right, explore all different options, follow your cravings, and just make informed decisions. That's all that we can do, right? And because I was asked what I'm doing, because some people have been inquisitive and wondered where I get my protein or attacked me and said that I'm not doing right by my baby, I wanted to set the record straight. Let's talk about some of these books. There's so many really great books. So first of all, if you want to adopt more of a plant-based diet, and maybe this is old school that I have a cooking book, but I love just having like a page in front of me. So I love this. This is 1,000 Vegan Recipes by Robin Robertson, and everything's in here. From like pasta primaveras to vegan roasts to stir fries to lentil patties to anything you can think of, from desserts to hors d'oeuvres to salads to dressings. It's all in here. Black bean chili is really good. Their black bean chili. Or just what I do is I Google it, right? If you're like craving meatless tacos, if you're craving enchiladas, if you're craving a stir fry, I'll just Google like vegan stir fry and see what pops up, and then I'll look at the reviews. And if the reviews are stellar, I'll make it right from my phone. So that's really great too. Skinny Bitch, Bun in the Oven. This book is awesome. It's funny, it's informative. They have so many awesome nutritionists and doctors give them more information that you'll even know what to do with on how to follow a plant-based diet when you're pregnant, but it also educates you everything about animals and what they go through when they're at the slaughterhouses, and it covers every avenue, not only from the nutritional standpoint, which is most important when you're pregnant, but also just like from the ethical standpoint, and I love that. And the skinny bitch part is a play on words because most people, if you're vegan, people might assume you're vegan because you're trying to watch your weight. And they really, they poke fun at that because in reality, it's about being healthy, it's about being aware of the environment, it's about being aware of the animals, but some people will just immediately assume that you're doing it for vain reasons, which is ridiculous because there's so much bad vegan food out there, and I mean bad as in like just void of nutrition and full of fat, but it's good to pig out on once in a while. We all should. You should have moderation. But just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's healthy either. So people don't understand that. The Complete Organic Pregnancy. I love this book. This book is really great too. It says here what you need to know from the nail polish you wear to the bed you sleep in to the water you drink. So it's not just foods that you're ingesting. It's everything from like what you put on your face should be green to your household products, to your nail polishes. All my nail polishes now are completely toxic free. And I think that's so great. And just buying organic. And that, you know what? That sucks though. To say like, buy organic, it's expensive. This freaking vitamin is expensive. This is twice as much as the vitamin that you'll get at like a CVS for $19. This is probably $40. And I think that's bullshit. I think that's bullshit that organic and healthy and better vitamins and foods is more expensive because then you're not getting that, it's not accessible to everyone. And that's fucked up. And that pisses me off because it's like, my nutrition is the most expensive part of I spend very little on my wardrobe. Most of my like clothes are actually very cheap. And then most of my stuff, especially now that I'm pregnant, all goes to nutrition. And it's because I choose to buy organic, and luckily I can right now. Luckily I can afford it. But in college, I couldn't. So I would just recommend getting a really good, like a veggie wash, and you can wash your veggies and your fruits and try and get all those pesticides out. And then finally, the 100 healthiest foods to eat during pregnancy. This is great because there's so many great foods in here that tell you how to get your nutrients. So for instance, iron, if you wanted to get more iron. First of all, there's iron in a lot of plant-based foods, but I remember in the beginning of my pregnancy, I was craving dried apricots. I found out that they're full of iron. Maybe I needed iron in the beginning of it. But now, you know, I've never tested for anemia. My iron levels have always been great, all the different blood work that I've gotten. So again, sorry that I jumped all over the place. Recipes out there that I love are, now I just make them on my own. So some of the things that I gravitate towards now that I'm pregnant, it changes week to week, but I love like a good tempeh patty. You can get tempeh just as is, like at Trader Joe's. It's pretty cheap. It's way cheaper than meat. You can get it at Whole Foods. You can get it at Ralph's now. You can just get your tempeh. You cut it up, put it in a pan with some olive oil, and I throw some veggies in there too, some nuts, and that's a really good, and then I put it like on quinoa or brown rice, and that's a really great stir fry because you got your protein, you got your veggies, you got your nuts, you got your seeds, you got your grains, put it on some brown rice. Sometimes I put it on pasta. So that's like a really great balanced meal. Of course, there's so many different like burgers that you can do, like a lentil patty or a black bean patty. So many different pasta dishes where you can also make sure that you put some like tofu in there or tempeh in there, or even just having like really great whole grains and leafy greens has a lot of protein too. So you get your carbs and you get your proteins. And of course, make sure you get your fruits and all that too. But there's so many great recipes that if you read any of these books, even the Skinny Bitch Bun in the Oven one, great recipes. And just be well planned. You know, if you're pregnant out there or you're conceiving and you're already following a plant-based diet or you want to, it doesn't hurt to have a checklist. Even if you're following whatever diet that works for you, do that. But make sure you have your checklist because it's overwhelming when you're pregnant. It really is. You don't want to affect the baby. The baby, they say at the end of the day, will draw from the mom. So if you're not getting adequate calcium, the baby will draw from your bones. That's not good. That's not good for you. It's not good for the baby. Just try and give the baby as much as you can, the best nutrition. And if you have to have a checklist, like make sure that you have this much protein every day, this much fruits and vegetables. And I had to do that in the beginning and I had to kind of section out all my freaking pills. nutrition, whatever you want to call them, prenatals, multivitamins, because I got overwhelmed in the beginning, but you're no longer eating for yourself, you're eating for this development of the baby. So sometimes at like 8 o'clock at night, I'd be like, man, you know, all I had was pasta today and fruits and I don't feel very well. So I didn't really gravitate towards like something really heavy. I would make myself a black bean burrito and you just eat it, even if you're not craving it sometimes, because you want to make sure the baby has all the different nutrients. So a checklist really helps. Reading all this material really helps. There's so much great material, also like different blogs. Make sure you have your prenatals. I swear by My Kind Organics. And then make sure you have your DHA, really important. And just have your little checklist and be positive, be happy. I think just having like a good, healthy outlook affects the baby too. You don't want to be too stressed. And for those of you that have questions, please continue to leave the questions below. Again, I'm not a nutritionist. This is me just doing the best that I can. I wanted to share with you what I was doing since so many of you have asked. I hope it's helped. I could go on and on and on. We're clearly out of time. I'm sorry that I keep rambling and I'm a little bit all over the place. But it's really important. I think nutrition is, it's your lifeline. It's the baby's lifeline. So you have to take it seriously. You have to be informed. And it's good, you feel good. And I find too, really quickly, I'll leave on this note, because I do love to cheat, meaning like I love to have like my chocolate chip cookies. I love to have my cake. I love to have all of that. And they do, you have plenty of vegan options that are incredible. You would not know the difference. There's so many great options out there. I don't want people to think just because it's plant-based that it doesn't taste good. You can make it, it tastes delicious. I don't miss meat or dairy for the life of me. But as far as like junk food goes, you have those cravings, totally normal, pig out on them. What I have noticed when I'm pregnant though is I feel really bad afterwards, physically. Not mentally, physically. And before that didn't really affect me. So it's weird. I'm sure every pregnancy is different, but I think your body is just so into like what it's craving and nutrition that it's going to tell you when something isn't right for your body. So when I do pig out on those cookies, it really is like you feel really, I get a stomach ache afterwards, as opposed to before I would be fine. Maybe I'd be a little tired, but now it does affect you. So you're even more mindful what you put in your body as pure fuel for the baby, and just listening to those cravings. If you crave protein, make yourself a plant-based protein. If you crave pineapple, most likely you need more vitamin C or whatnot. So like I said, with the apricots, maybe I needed iron. It's crazy. So just listen to your body. And yeah, and I hope that this has been helpful. And please share your thoughts. And we'll be doing, I'm 6 months today. I don't know if you can see. I'll just lean up a little bit and show you 6 months today. Crazy. She's the size of a cantaloupe. And I'm always out of breath because I'm pumping, as I said earlier, like twice as much blood flow. So sorry. And I'm starting to get achy, but I love it. I'm really excited. There's the good parts about pregnancy, and there are some downfalls, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really exciting. And nutrition's a big part of it. So I hope this helped, and we will see you all next time on Pop Sugar.